I'm Mike Moore with the Scholar Bible Institute. And if you feel called to preach or lead, but feel like something is missing, then this is for you. The reality is that modern ministry requires far more than just preaching. Ministers are expected to navigate conflict, develop volunteers, build teams, communicate vision, manage change, interpret culture, create discipleship pathways, lead churches through uncertainty, and yet often ministers are expected to do all of this with little formal leadership development.
That is what I need.
So let me ask a question. How would you know if you've reached the limits of your current leadership capacity?
I don't think I would know how to explain it even if I could.
Not your spiritual maturity, your leadership capacity, because the signs are often subtle.
Subtle?
They don't usually show up in the pulpit. They show up in patterns.
Here they are.
Perhaps you've noticed that attendance stays largely the same year after year.
I never noticed before.
We neither.
Not declining drastically, nor growing meaningfully, just existing. Perhaps visitors attend occasionally, but rarely ever become integrated into the life of the church.
Okay, now you're being mean, and best friends don't treat each other that way.
Perhaps you've noticed that a small percentage of the members do most of the responsibility while everyone else remains on the sidelines.
You gotta get off the sidelines, you gotta get back into this game.
Perhaps you've noticed that every significant decision, problem, or conflict eventually finds its way back to you. Perhaps you've noticed that your calendar feels full, but your mission feels stalled.
Woo! It's talking about me.
Those are not necessarily ministry failures. They may be signals that the church organization has grown to the edge of what the current system can support.
On the edge of what?
On the edge of life or death.
One of the most important lessons in leadership research is this: organizations rarely outgrow the capacity of their leader. In fact, studies across nonprofit, educational, organizational environments have consistently demonstrated that leadership development is one of the strongest predictors to long-term, consistent organizational effectiveness.
You've given me a lot to think about.
Healthy organizations learn, healthy organizations adapt, healthy organizations evaluate themselves honestly. Unhealthy organizations often repeat familiar behaviors while expecting different outcomes.
Gee, I didn't think it'd turn out like this.
And that creates a dangerous illusion because activity can feel like progress. A busy calendar can create the appearance of momentum. More events, more meetings, more announcements, more programs, more effort. Yet none of those things automatically produce growth.
Now we cooking.
Okay, we're cooking. All right.
The question isn't, are we working hard? The question is the current approach producing the outcomes we say we want?
Well, now that's a very good question.
Those are two different questions. And perhaps that's one of the most difficult realities for church leaders to face, because sometimes the obstacle isn't effort, it's expertise.
Dang.
not a lack of commitment, a lack of development. Let me say something that might set someone free today. You can be highly faithful and still need new skills. The two ideas are not in competition. Learning does not diminish your calling. Development does not replace dependence on God. In fact, throughout Scripture, God frequently develops people before expanding their influence. Moses learned, Joshua learned, Paul learned, the disciples learned. God has always required development. So, what can you do this week? Not next year, not after another conference, this week.
Thanks, but I've reached my maximum allowance for humiliation this week.
3 things. First, identify one measurable indicator of ministry health. Not how busy you are or how tired you are. Something measurable, like retention, visitor engagement, first-time guest return rate, small group participation, leadership pipeline development, because what remains invisible rarely improves.
Can you say that again?
Because what remains invisible rarely improves. Ask 3 trusted people, what is the biggest obstacle preventing our church from becoming what God called it to be? Then resist the urge to explain. Resist the urge to defend. Simply listen. Leaders often grow most when they hear what they've been avoiding.
There's no avoiding this conclusion.
Numero dos. Ask for honest feedback, not encouragement, feedback.
Okay, honest feedback? That sounds terrible.
Maybe it's communication. Maybe it's delegation. Maybe it's conflict resolution. Third, identify one leadership skill that would create the greatest impact if improved. Maybe it's discipleship systems. Maybe it's volunteer development. Whatever it is, create a plan to learn it, because churches often grow when leaders become students again.
You have learned something, and I have learned something.
Here's what I've discovered. Most small churches aren't limited by mission. Most small churches aren't limited by theology. Most small churches aren't limited by passion. Many are limited by leadership capacity. And leadership capacity can be developed.